Hi, my name is Philip Roberts, and this is a recording from my Game Design as Cultural Practice class. For this vlog, I'll be critiquing the Manichi game. Visually, the game is relatively simple. It uses modified RPG Maker assets. That isn't really to criticize it, it's just it is what it is. The main point of the visual design is the avatar of the main character, who is a mixed transgendered person. The emotions of the main character and of the friend at a certain point are kind of conveyed through these little text box or thought bubble emoticons. I feel kind of the same for the soundtrack. It's there, but that's really all I can say about that. It doesn't subtract from the experience, but neither does it really add to it. For this experience, the interaction design I feel is what's really strong and how it's tied into the narrative. You're presented with a couple of choices, either making certain self-indulgent decisions, such as taking a nap, versus spending time on preparing yourself for the day and putting on makeup and taking a bath and putting on clothes. Skipping ahead a little bit in how this reflects upon our arguments and criticisms, I think this shows the decisions that a transgendered person has to make every day. Let me preface that with saying that I am not a transgendered person and I can't speak to the full experience, but reading what the creator wrote about the experience, that's kind of the point. Manichi means slice of life, and this is one slice of life being played again and again, kind of Groundhog Day style, if you're familiar with the Bill Murray movie. So again, returning to the interaction design, you make these choices, and this allows you to either present more or less as a woman. What happens is as you walk through the crowd later on, they will interact with you. If you're presenting as a man, they'll call you sir and treat you like a man, versus if you're presenting as a woman, you have to deal with catcalls. And then the surprise as one of the men realizes that you are a transgendered person. So these small narrative elements, which really the narrative portion of this game is mostly just the interactions of other non-player characters in the game, these flow into the choices that you made earlier at your house. This is further reflected as you enter the coffee shop and meet your friend, who presumably is also transgendered. You have to buy coffee for the both of you, and if you're presenting as a woman but you hand over your credit card instead of cash, well then the name on the credit card says Mr., which confuses the waitress and leads to an awkward situation and frustration for the character. You can choose to flirt with the guy serving the drinks at the end of the counter. However, depending on how you're presenting, how he reacts is differently. He'll be very positive if you're presenting as a female. However, as you go back to your friend, even this can be somewhat a source of frustration, as the friend notices that the server is very flirty with all the females and may not react so positively if he realizes that you are actually a transgendered person. Overall, this is sort of a slice of life game or experience, rather, and there's no way to fail, and it's not a game in that traditional sense, according to Salem and Zimmerman. However, it does do a good job of conveying, I guess, some of the frustrations and awkwardness that can happen to a transgendered person and the efforts that they have to go throughout their day so that they can prepare and present the way they want to be presented, and the time that it takes to do that. Compared to some of the other recent vlogs that I've done about Choice Texas and the Coming Out Simulator, I actually rather enjoyed this experience a little more than the others, probably because of, I guess, some of the queerness of the way that this experience is presented versus the others, which I'm familiar with interactive fiction from Janet Murray's courses before, are those follow a very traditional pattern and don't subvert them as much as I feel that this experience does. In a couple of ways, its queerness is very novel in that it is Manichi, it is a slice of life, and it effectively plays through that and again by really kind of embracing these interactions and mechanics. And there is no ending, there is no goal, so it's not a game in that sense, but I think this accomplishes what it wants to do in a way that's a little more novel. That's not to say that the other experiences are bad, by no means so. This is just a little more of its own being. And really focusing in on how the choices that a transgendered person makes, in my mind, made that very effective. There is some roughness around the corners because I think the creator admits that they aren't a game programmer and they're just using RPG Maker to quickly make an experience. And so, critically, you could draw points against that, but that's not really the point of this vlog. There was no real tutorial, so it's possible I missed things. However, as I was able to see, all I needed to do was use the arrow keys and enter button. So hopefully I experienced everything. I think it was an interesting experience, and I think it was novel in the way that it kind of showed me and opened my eyes a little bit to how even very small things can affect the way that a transgendered person's daily life is affected through that. And I think there's a lot of value in showing how very small things can be very meaningful.